Hello, Rayclast. What's up? Zambash here at the end of the first week of Settlers of Kalgor. I'm about to do an Elder Slayer's invitation here. Looks like a pretty nasty rolled one. We got double turbo with damage. I think I'll be okay for the most part though. I decided to stick with the build and start investing into it rather than making a separate farming build. And things are still pretty slow for a while, but we are finally starting to really take off. We've made some big upgrades. Still have a long way to go, but things are going pretty well so far. So let's see how these guys go. I have no reason to try and tank the draw. As I say, no reason to try and tank the Jock Slam and I get caught in the darn mana drain. That's annoying. As long as I could just keep fighting them, I'm fine. It's just when stupid Dot goes down on the ground that we get in trouble.
I shall free you.
Oh. So, that was pretty simple despite the nasty mods. Just getting caught in the stupid mana burn at the beginning got us. So there's Elder Slayers done. As you can see, we're pretty tanky against hits. Dots are always going to be a problem on this build. So getting caught in that mana burn kind of screwed us. Brought our health just low enough that we died from the follow-up Jock Slam. But we do have a lot of tankiness still to gain on this build. But also quite a lot of expense. I am up to 6 frenzy charges. I am going to be using Dark Rays to get a 7th, and then the plan is a Masterful Form, Forbidden Flesh, and Flame, which will get me up to 8, and then I will also have 8 Endurance charges, so we've got a lot of extra tankiness to gain. So now that you've seen what the character's doing at this point, I'll go over some of the upgrades I've made, and there are a lot of them. I think the only reasonably decent pieces I had bought in the last update video were just this ring and belt. Since then, the next thing I bought was this amulet for 4 divs. Really solid amulet, life, crit multi, flat fizz, and some resists, and I could craft on area of effect and area damage, and that allowed me to spend some money on some golden oils since I actually had a good amulet to use them on, and put Veteran's Wrath as an anoint. That gives 2 rage on melee hit, which is very strong. That's this node over here, and it also makes it so the rage loss starts 1 second later, so that gives you 3 seconds of leeway, so you can pretty reliably just keep rage up for an entire map. I've bought a Lethal Pride. It also has, on one of these nodes, another rage on hit. So we've got a total of 3 rage on hit. You can get that every 0.5 seconds, so that's 6 rage per second, so it only takes us 5 seconds to get up to max rage for 30% more damage. This ended up being a pretty good Lethal Pride. I was just kind of looking for something that would fill in. There is a slightly better one maybe that I would like to get eventually, but this one has actually 6 useful nodes on the 6 notables I have around. It's got 15 crit multi there, it's got life, it's got rage, it's got crit chance there, it's got 5% of fizz as extra fire, which isn't a ton, but it is relevant on this build because we are fizz to Ellie conversion anyways, and it gives another life on herbalism there. So pretty solid Lethal Pride, and as usual, it helps solve the strength problems on these right side of the tree nodes. I am up to level 97 at this point. I do want to push this character to 100 eventually, because I do have a tree planned out to act. What the frick? I just noticed I've had a freaking wasted point there that I never took out from leveling freaking 70 levels ago. Okay, so we gained a skill point there. We're going to put that into this crit multi down here for now. That was embarrassing. I've had that note in there the whole time since I was leveling this character using swords through the axe. Anyways, we got the Lethal Pride. And then so big items now. I can't remember if I had this helmet last time. Maybe I did. We got a nice helmet with accuracy there that solves our accuracy, and of course a lot of life and evasion and energy shield. Now the piece de resistance we've got right now got this dagger. Finally got an upgrade for our Beanos. I bought it for 16 divs. It had some random crapo suffixes on it, but it had a crafted suffix, so I was able to just lock prefixes, scour it, and then multi-mod. Eventually, when I have a bunch of money, and of course I hit a crappy 16% attack speed roll, but eventually when I have a bunch of money, I will, of course, use some Veiled Orbs until I hit either the Veiled attack speed or crit chance, and then craft the other and slam a third mod. But that will be like probably the last thing I do with the build, because this sucker is 607 Fizz DPS at the moment, and then I saved up all the runes and stuff, bought up the ones I was missing, and I was able to do the melee hits fortify rune craft. Very awesome. I was super happy to see that that's available on daggers once all of the mods were mined. And then we've also crafted a new chest. This took about 7 divs to craft. It's your pretty standard crit chance plus frenzy charge on hit, and then you do the lock suffixes and caster reforged for the guaranteed curse on hit. And thankfully I landed up with an open prefix after that, so I was able to craft on some life. Obviously this could be better, but realistically this will hold us over for a very long time, maybe until I'm done with the build. Getting that frenzy charge on hit allowed us to finally drop Blood Rage, which is quite important because Blood Rage was making it so we never actually had our energy shield because it was just dipping my energy shield all the time. So with Blood Rage gone and now able to get frenzy charges on bosses, also very importantly, that's one of the reasons why my single target was so bad previously, is because I just couldn't get frenzies up on bosses. So we got frenzies on bosses now, and not having Blood Rage meant I could go into Ghost Dance. So now we can actually leverage that energy shield and the evasion we've got. Gives us a nice extra little buffer that'll pop back up when we don't block or evade something, thanks to the Ghost Dance. So very solid node on this character. And then, since I did the additional cursed chest, I was able to add in Ellie Weakness on top of Assassin's Mark, which I've been using with Mark on hit support. Can't level the Ellie Weakness a ton. I don't want to level it anymore because of intelligence requirements, and I don't really want to look for more intelligence because suffixes are going to be pretty starved with other stuff I need. But getting Ellie Weakness, that let us get a Balance of Terror, which has this very strong up to 40% of Fizz as an extra random element if you've cast Ellie Weakness in the past 10 seconds. Really, really strong damage jewel for this build, stronger than you could get from any other jewel, I think. Even like a perfect crit multi-jewel I don't think would end up giving as much damage as this guy does. Really, really strong jewel, and 14 Ellie res up to 15 along with it, so that relieves some suffix pressure as well. So that's pretty much what I've done so far. Going forward, I need to get a Dark Rays that should be corrupted with spell suppression. I need to get some much better gloves, obviously. These are things I've been using since like leveling through the axe pretty much. So Dark Ray Vectors with Spell Suppression, and then Gloves with Spell Suppression. That will finally let me take out this Lucky Spell Suppression and put in the Prevent 3%. Also, to get up to cap, I'm planning on getting a Watcher's Eye with the Grace mod for up to 15% Spell Suppression. Then, next big upgrades after that, I will be taking out this whole chunk of nodes and going into a Cluster Jewel setup down here. That'll also let me drop these because I'm going to get some block on one of the Cluster Jewel nodes. And then eventually, in fact, probably as soon as I get the Dark Rays, I'll be up to 7. It'll be reasonable to do. I'm going to take out these 4 nodes and put them into the Frenzy Charge Disciple to Slaughter down here. And then once I have the Forbidden Flesh and Flame for Masterful Form, with some of the other points I'll save, like saving this Int node once I get enough Int on gear, taking out this stuff, I am also going to go down the Endurance Charge side here, so that will make it so we sustain our Endurance charges while mapping, and also give us some nice damage and area of effect as well. You may notice I still don't have a Vol Reave. I would really like to get a Vol Reave of Refraction so I don't have to use an extra gem slot, even though I do have a free gem slot right now that I could just put another 20 quality Vol Reave in to get the Vol Reave going. It honestly hasn't been too big of a deal, and I'm kind of enjoying kind of edging myself with that, knowing that that massive AoE boost is waiting in the back, because the build already feels great for clearing just with regular Reave stacks, but when I can add another 4 stacks with Vol Reave, and I'll eventually be doing a increased or awakened increased area of effect with, I'll probably gem swap back to wet or awakened wet or whatever for single target. But we're going to get a lot of AoE. We should be hitting like well past the edges of the screen, at least on the top and bottom, once we have all that stuff rolling. So we've got a lot of AoE still to go, a lot of damage still to go, ton of survivability still to go once we get the endurance charges going. That'll be really sick for our survivability. But overall, things have been progressing really nicely. Obviously, sluggish start. I definitely don't recommend anyone else, trying to league start with this kind of a build. Trying to do a fizz crit dagger build at league start is just asking for trouble, especially with a skill like Reave where you're not, abusing projectile shotgunning or something like you would be in a Molten Strike or some kind of poison build. Just a straight right clicker kind of build with no hidden mechanics is definitely been a rough league start, but we're getting there. We're making good progress. Just started finally farming my ritual strategy today and had a couple good finds. We found like an Enlighten that sold, which funded a good portion of the crafting of this chest. And we found this Ellie weakness on hit implicit ring that I'm hoping to get 5-6 divs for. I currently have the cheapest one listed. All the other ones listed are more expensive, so hopefully somebody will be interested in that. Some other little fractured and synthesized stuff that realistically probably won't sell for anything, but we'll see. So far Ritual has been good profit, and hoping that will continue. Just lately I've been blasting some more maps just gold farming again, because I needed some gold to keep my guys going. So that's pretty much how things are going. We've made a bunch of progress and still a bunch more to go. Build is starting to feel really strong and nice, and I think I should be able to clear all content with it. You may notice I have 6 slots on my map device here. I cleared a T17, I think it was a Ziggurat. It was whichever one has Katarina as the boss. Managed to do that deathless. That was the first and so far only T17 I've ever done. I noped out of last league before I even got the T17s because I just didn't enjoy last league at all. So that was cool to get a T17 done on my own. And that was before I made any of these upgrades. In fact, I think that might have... That was with the new dagger, but it wasn't with the new chest or anything, so that was a long boss fight with no frenzy charges and kind of weak damage overall. But got it done. Build is feeling real solid. We're never going to be tanky against damage over times. That was the hole I knew was going to be big in this build from the beginning. But I don't really care too much about that. We will get a big boost for damage over time survivability in one way. Once I chop all this out and go into the cluster jewel, I'm going to get my leech from these 2 points, and that'll give me the instant leech mastery for 10% of leeches instant there. So that'll give us a lot quicker sustain to be able to survive through some dots better. So the character still has a long way to go, but I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm really having fun playing along with this character, enjoying the build I'm playing and upgrading, even if it's slow, rather than having done some other starter and just farming and then slapping all this stuff on at once at the end. I really like the sort of organic process of exploring and sort of updating your planning on a build as you go and as things become available. So thanks for watching, stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you guys later.